Hi, it's starting to get dark here in Aspen, Colorado. You can see the sun setting over the mountains behind me. And I'm sitting outside because fresh air is awesome. And I am an informal type person. I don't like to stage things or orchestrate things, so I'm just gonna sit down right here and give you a sketchbook tour of the sketchbook I just completed. I am sitting here next to the closed up Benedict music tent, and I literally just plopped my sketchbook right down on my flip-flops in the grass. So here we go. This is my son. These are stickers by Leigh, Ellison, and you can look her up. So this has kind of been the first sketchbook that I have filled where I really, one, I guess focused on filling it, but not exclusively. I've been working on multiple sketchbooks at the same time. And two, really allowed myself to play and let go and experiment with things. So the goal of this sketchbook, you can see here, this is a 5-minute sketch. I ended up using markers and a couple paint pens to get this guy down as much as I could. I have recently started subscribing, as of this past summer, 2021, started subscribing to a few illustrators on Patreon, and monthly they host drawing sessions, live drawing sessions, which also have recordings. The three main illustrators that I follow are Emma Carlisle, Sarah Dyer, and Becca Hall. And this was from a Big Cats Patreon session. I ended up using some paint pen and adding some colored pencil on top. This was a 10-minute drawing, so a lot of times they'll present photos or slow down live footage and give you a time limit, and then it's up to you how you want to interact with that. So this, the page behind it bled through it already, but this was another timed session where I was practicing using gouache. That's all I used here. I didn't use any pencils or markers or anything. Maybe I did use a marker to lay down the initial sketch, but again, working as quickly as possible with limited materials has been really, really fun. This is another tiger from the Big Cat session, and these are some exotic bird sketches from Becca Hall's. I wrote down here 3 minutes each, so we had 3 minutes to get down each of the birds. 3 minutes each, so not total. And then here I was just playing around swatching my new Tombow pens. And then here you can see this was another timed sketch. This was 5 minutes. I ended up using paint pen, Ecoline marker, and it looks like that's it. I may have gone in with some kind of pencil afterwards. But I've really enjoyed how experimental I can get. These are not things that I normally would sit down and draw. This was boats in a harbor. This was another timed drawing, but I didn't write down the time. I was playing around with using just watercolor to begin. So it is just watercolor, and then I came in with a Derwent drawing pencil, I believe, with the red lines. And again, I'm not a landscape painter. I am not a boats painter, and that's why this was such a great challenge, because no judgment, I just wanted to create something in the time available. And this was just a fun little playground sketch when I was visiting my brother in Kansas State over the summer. This is another one from the Big Cats. It looks like I had 2 minutes to draw the lion. And then I just came back in with the paint pen afterwards because I felt like there was too much white space. Maybe at some point I will fill in some more sketches over here, but I just really liked how bold it was. Having trouble flipping these pages. Another Big Cat sketch, 2 minutes, same thing. I did the lion in 2 minutes, and then I filled in the background later. And then this is another, I don't think this is from the Big Cats though. Here I was using, I don't know if this paint pen was running out or what was going on with it, but you can see the smeary marks. And the same thing with the underlayer, that was also paint pen, and then I went over it with an orange paint pen for the outlines. I think I was trying to get the paint out of the paint pen, and then I went back later and just drew little raindrops because it kind of reminded me of a cloud. One other thing I'm really enjoying with starting sketches on random pages is that I can come back later and add something to them. So these were boats. It says Becca Hall. This was another of Becca's Patreons, where we had a certain amount of time to do each boat. And then this is another Becca. I was challenging myself just to use paint pens, and then I came in with a pencil a little bit afterwards just to add a little definition. But another timed sketch, another limited materials sketch. And the goal is not to have final pieces. I guess I did a lot of these where I turned it sideways. This was another, I believe, Becca Hall. It says 15 minutes, so landscape, not my forte, but I took a stab at it. Got some little houses in there, and I don't hate it as much now as I did when I did it. This was Mont Saint Michel from Emma Carlisle's Patreon. It was 5 minutes to try to get down this crazy intricate building, and so I used I think Tombow markers, looks like colored pencil. The beige is paint pen, and then Tombow markers for the blue roofs as well. These are from life drawing classes, so thanks to Emma Carlisle, I started going to life drawing sessions online via Henley School of Art, and also drawing life and To Be or Not to Be collective. So these were quick sketches from one of those sessions. This is the same model as on the previous pages. I believe I was using just marker and kind of a charcoal pencil, and then I was trying to get a little more stylized with this one. Again, limited time. Same thing, different life drawing sessions. And then these I had a lot of fun with. Because they are so quick, you only have a couple minutes to get the form down before she switches poses. I was really trying to decide, you know, what do I want to start with? What do I want to lay over the top? What do I need to leave some space for? And I really like the energy that's in these. This was the same model from before. These were the really fast. It says 2 minutes at the top. 2 minutes each for these sketches. And then I was just messing around with swatching my materials later. Again, another similar model to the one that's previous. I was using paint pen, pretty much exclusively paint pen, and then a colored pencil. This one I just added this last weekend. These were sheep. This was another Becca Hall Patreon, 15 minutes to get the sheep down. I tried to add a little bit of environment background. And then these are more playground drawings from Kansas City. I got cut short because the kids wanted to leave, so I didn't get very far on this one, but it was a fun little playground setup that they had there. Oh my goodness. Alright, so this is more. This was another life drawing session. She calls herself Marquis de Saw. She was wearing a suit. She had a literal saw with her. And then these are some seagull drawings. Band boat drawings from either Becca or Sarah. I forget who. You can see I've got the leaves going on there. I was swatching a bunch of non-graphite pencils and some water-soluble graphite pencils that I have in my stock, just to see and note for myself, you know, which react better to water, which are more velvety to write with. This was a house across the street from my brother's house outside of Kansas City. And this was a super fun challenge with Emma Carlisle's Patreon, where we actually drew this upside down. So she posted a photo that was upside down, and we drew it like that. And then I was actually really pleased with the result when I turned it upside right. I was surprised, very surprised that it looked like anything at all. These were more upside down horse drawing sketches. And these, I was challenging myself because people are not my forte and drawing fast is not my forte. So we were at the pool in my brother's neighborhood this summer, and I sat down and I just tried to get some people down. A lot of them, for whatever reason, noticed when I was drawing them, and so they would move and I had to stop. But I tried to come back to the ones who were kind of moving in repetitive ways and get a little bit further. So that was just some kind of fine liner pen and a colored pencil. These were just quick sketches on my porch. This is my dog who was passed out. I was playing around with using different colors for the mountains. in the top of my landlord's house. Don't really like them, but again, I'm really proud of myself for sticking with the sketchbook and allowing myself to experiment even when it doesn't go well. These are Sloth Drawings from Holly Surplus. She does wildlife drawing where they're online or Zoom sessions, and she has wildlife experts come and show real life live footage of these animals moving. And the sloths, they are slow, but they did keep moving around, and so I had a hard time getting a good angle and getting the details down. This is more sloths. This was more of the Marquis de Sales life drawing sessions, more sloths. And then this was another life drawing session where I was challenging myself 1 minute poses. So yeah, I had 1 minute for each of these. And I thought that watercolor would be the best way to kind of get a form down quickly using a brush. And then I could drop wet into wet watercolor for the hair. These were 2 minute poses. So you can see there's a little bit more definition. I don't know what this was. This is more than a 2 minute pose though. And then more sloths, more testing, chalk pastels, and longer life drawing poses with that same model. This was just random getting out some energy onto the page. This was a cat drawing session with Emma Carlisle at her Patreon, and this was from Becca Hall. There was another cat on this page that every time I came to this page I hated, and so I finally just painted over it with paint pen. You can still kind of see the ear and the face, and then I drew these birds over top with translucent yellow paint pen, and then a fluorescent red paint pen and a green paint pen, and then came back in with some marker as well. This was rabbits from Emma Carlisle's. I want to say she did a session on her Patreon with animals starting with the letter R. So there's lots of R's. That's what I want to say, it was the letter R. Same thing, more R's for rabbits. And then this was a ratfish, and he's kind of my favorite. This actually, I shouldn't have said that. This is kind of my favorite. I was just using paint pen to get the forms down first, and then came in with colored pencil later. And I really love the energy of this sketch. Again, these are timed sketches, so you don't have an infinite amount of time to get so close to something that you overwork it. This was from a manatee session with Wildlife Drawing, Holly Surplus. She also has a Patreon, which is Wildlife Drawing, and you get access to her library of recordings. Here I was just testing out my Neocolor 2 crayons and adding water to see how diluted they could get. I think this was from Emma again. I'm thinking like rat maybe, and rays, stingrays for the R session. This was a bird session with Emma's Patreon, and I really love focusing on limited materials, like taking 2 or 3 or 4 random materials out of my stockpile and seeing what I can do with them. Trying different drawings, trying environment drawings, and just seeing how I can adapt the colors and the materials to whatever subject I've got. This was a 15-minute sketch, and I actually do really like the way this turned out. Another bird and a rhinoceros, so this must still have been the R session. It was 15 minutes. I laid down paint pen first, came in with a pink paint pen, and then added some colored pencil at the end. And then this was a shop fronts session. We were given, a certain amount of time. The Instagram account, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a shop fronts Instagram account, and they literally post shop fronts. And so we went through these different shop fronts and had a certain amount of time for each drawing, and I just did the best I could with the materials and the time I had. This was a flowers and garden session. Again, I'm not a landscape drawer or painter, but I challenged myself here to only use gouache, and I mixed my gouache. So I had cyan, magenta, yellow, and black gouache, and I just kept it out next to me, and I tried to mix my own colors at the same time as trying to get something down on the page. So, you know, not entirely successful. I mean, I don't love it, but there are things that I like. One of the tips Emma likes to give her Patreon patrons, is to, even on something you don't like, find 3 things that you do like. This I actually do like, and I want to say this was Sarah Dyer's Patreon group. Just drawing a storefront, and again I was working with limited materials. I had the pink coral colored paint pen, I had this turquoise colored pencil, and the green was a soft pastel, I think. I've fixed it. The Sennelier fixative for oil pastels works really well for chalk pastels as well. I'm testing out more materials. And the next is just a page with some energy work stuff. Here is a quick lemur sketch. Oh, and every minute. So Emma did another challenge where it was every minute you had to change to a new material, and it could be like a new color of the same material or a completely different material, and you kind of had to strategize, you know, what you're going to start with first, what you're going to pick up next until you get done. I don't know if this was 5 minutes. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 4 or 5 minutes because that's all the materials that I see there. Another shop front, the back bled through. This bird was super fun. I did a catch up with one of Becca Hall's Patreon recordings this weekend, and it was exotic birds. We were timed for this one as well, and I just used a paint pen to get the shape down and then added in the beak and the feathers with I want to say it was a carbon pencil. Another shop front. Owls, quick owl sketches from Wildlife Drawing. The owl kept moving around, so I never really got a good look at his face because he kept turning his head, but that was my attempt, my valiant attempt. Another shop front. And then these are more of the Marquis de Sade. Again, I was trying to use watercolor only just to get the form down. 2-minute poses, so each one of these we had 2 minutes for. You can see the saw, she had her saw. And it says with Henley, so it was a recording with Henley School of Art, a life drawing session. And here I was just testing out my Jasper Stardust pastels. I really love his colors, his pigments that he uses. Another Becca Hall. Again, I don't draw architecture and buildings and landscapes and things. If you know my work at all, you know I prefer kind of unicorns and colorful abstracts and things that are more whimsical, but I challenge myself. So just a street scene. I don't know if it was a Stabilo or an art graph or some kind of water-soluble black pencil. And then I just added a quick wash with blue watercolor at the end. Another sketch from my brother's pool in Kansas City where I was trying to draw people fast. More Marquis de Sade. I actually really hate this one, but I've left it in here anyway. I do like this one. I do like the way this turned out. I had a soft pastel that I used to cut out the shape around her when I was done. Limited materials again. Not striving for realism, but really challenging myself. This one I actually like. This was another Becca Hall Patreon recording, a harbor. And these I really like too. So this is Trixie Divine. She's a life model that a lot of online Patreon accounts use. Henley School of Art uses her. There's some other online life drawing establishments that use her. And I think that she probably does some in-person sessions too. This was bugs. Not my favorite subject, but I was trying to work with paint. And then I just added a little bit of pencil to this guy at the end because he was so indistinct. Manatee session. And this woman I really love, and these were just a couple minutes each, maybe, I want to say like maybe 4 minutes each or something like that. She was a statue. I really love that. These were just a couple things I drew outside from the porch, and then this was a scene I kind of worked in around the chair, which was a couple people walking on a path. This is the last page that I will do for this sketchbook tour, and I will continue the second half in another recording. So another little bird. I think this was from Emma, and this was just, what was this? I think this was from either Becca or Sarah, Drawing Houses. Me again. The sun is still holding out a little bit, so I've still got some light. I really do like this lighting for the sketchbook tour. I know it's not great on my face, but you don't really need to see my face anyway. Stay tuned if you want to see the second half of the sketchbook, because that's coming up next. See you next time.